This is northern Kenya, and this is how northern Kenya is planned to look. This is all due to the upcoming project by the name of Lapsset Project, Lapsset Corridor. For now, Kenya have only one corridor, which is referred to Northern Corridor, which connect Kenya with Uganda. The corridor passes from Mombasa all the way through Nairobi, Nakuru, and end up to Kampala, and to some extent goes to Rwanda and Burundi. Kenya came up with this Lapsset Corridor allowed 1975, but the project never took off. Why? It's a costly project which is estimated to cost around 24 point something billion US dollar. And at the moment, Kenya couldn't be able to go on with this project. And on 2013, some of the project was started. The project is a big complex thing because it's comprising of many things. It is comprising of railway line, oil pipeline, road, airport, and even port. The project is aimed to connect Kenya to its neighboring country of Ethiopia, South Sudan, and maybe to some part of Northern Sudan, the lower part of Northern Sudan. The project will start all the way from Lamu. Lamu is an old town, and the starting of the project was to rehabilitate Lamu from being an old Swahili town to become this big infrastructure, to become a modern town so that it can be able to sustain the life after it have developed. You see, the project is aiming to develop the and open the northern part of Kenya, which has been left behind for so long. It has not been developed for the longest time. So, if Lamu will develop, they need to have where to house people, to house business, and to be able to house these hotel and many other business and economic activity which will be going on. So by starting of the project, they constructed Lamu Port. For the longest time, Mombasa Port has been winning between East and Central Africa. It has been the biggest port. And Africa receive around 1 billion US dollar container business. And Kenya has been for the longest time trying and eyeing to get this project and become the biggest trader. Where if you want something to be delivered to your country and it's being brought in through this big, huge container ship, you don't have a deep ports, then you have no advice apart from it to be dropped in Kenya and maybe delivered to your country through railway or maybe through smaller ship. And on 2017, Kenya was overtaken by multi-purpose Djibouti port, the new port, which has was commissioned on Djibouti. It's a multi-purpose port where it's meant to be used for military activity and also for commercial activity. And that port right now is the biggest in East and Central Africa. So Mombasa was overtaken, and Kenya didn't like that idea and had a plan to overtake the Djiboutian port, and that's where this Lamu port came up. As we are speaking, the first phase of Lamu port has been completed. Actually, it's in operation and it was opened and commissioned on 2019 by then President Uhuru Kenyatta. The port is aimed to be at least 17, some part are 17 and some part are 18-meter deep. So it's a port which can accommodate bigger vessel. And of late, Ethiopian side has been using this port to import and export goods. Remember, if you pass through Kenya and go toward Addis Ababa, it's a bit faster than Addis Ababa importing good all the way from Djibouti because Ethiopia is a landlocked country. And the starting of Lapset project start at Lamu Port. And by the thing how they are going, you can see the project has started at a high tone. The government of Kenya is funding majority of the project because the bigger part will be in Kenya. And the plan is to keep aside 6% of its annual budget to fund this project. The project have it's comprising of railway line which will be connecting Kenya through from Lamu, Isiolo, Turkana, and one part will go to Juba, the other part will go to Addis Ababa. This is to ease the transport of goods. Once Ethiopia or South Sudan import goods through Kenyan port, then it's easy for them to transport goods using standard gauge railway or train just because train is a bit faster and economical. It carry a lot of good. If we transport all those goods and maybe because Lamu Port is such a big project, start operating 100% of it, then this road which will be constructed also to link Kenya to Addis Ababa and to Juba then will just deteriorate at a high rate or even will be always full of congestion because we will need a lot of truck to transport all those goods. So the government decided to construct railway and road parallel. This is a project which will be working to help one another because if you are to transport good maybe within Kenya it will be easier for you maybe to transport on road. Let's say you are taking good on Trokana or Isiolo side, that might not need railway line, but if you're transporting good to Ethiopia you need a railway line because it will transport good faster and transport a lot of good, and the project is aimed to develop all of them in a way that those people who are close to Lamu Port can you choose to use truck or can choose to use the railway line. It might be to using truck to come to those people who are close to the port might make sense to them because it might be cheaper because railway line might be mostly focusing on outside Kenya. Also, the project is aiming to construct international airport. This international airport will be stationed at Turkana, Isiolo, and there is another port, international airport, which I cannot recall very well for now. This international airport is aimed to open up these parts. Remember, as for today, if you want to travel to the northern part of Kenya, yes, Isiolo International Airport is operational, but before you had to use mode of transport like road, and when it rain heavily, it become difficult to travel. Why? Most roads of northern part of Kenya get cut off because of rain. They are actually swept away and you find goods and people are not transported at the rate which it should be. You find if it's those people farming on northern Kenya, their good actually will maybe get spoiled on the farm or on the market just because it cannot be able to reach to outside Kenya or even the bigger, wider part of Kenya. So the government has a plan to construct those airports. And as we are speaking now, Isiolo International Airport actually is operational and you can fly in and out. It might not be an international airplane which are running and leaving, but local airplane are running and living, and it's a very magnificent project. It's a very beautiful one. Also, this project will include oil line. This is a crude oil pipeline which will connect Kenya from port of Lamu all the way to the port to the Addis Ababa and to Djibouti to Juba. Sorry, not Djibouti, to Juba. This is aiming on easing transport of fuel and crude oil in general. Because as for now, for Ethiopia to receive the oil, it have to transport it through container, through trucks actually, from one point to another, which at sometimes is dangerous and at sometimes take long and most of all it costly. Because imagine fueling a truck all the way from Mombasa or all the way from port of Djibouti, then move the truck all the way to Addis Ababa. It cannot compare the cost as transporting it through pipeline. And this is a project they want to be done by the year 2030. But I don't think so it can be actualized by the year 2030 because of economic issue. As we are speaking now, the pipeline is a bit like still, they have not officially communicated and said it will not go on, but it's kind of like not going on. Why? Since 2015, the oil price has been lowering and going down, down, down. So the economical viability of this pipeline is not making sense at all for now because you'll spend a lot of money and not end up getting anything from it in return because the fuel which you are transporting is a bit low. Then Kenya, on those all parts I've mentioned, Lamu, Turkana, Isiolo, and the bigger part of northern Kenya has been facing a lot of challenge of insecurity. Mostly at Lamu, people get attacked by Al Shabaab, and you find that even the construction of the road has sometimes stopped because Al Shabaab attack and kill some worker and no one want to be there to work. You find the project might go on for 3 months, then it stop, 3 months, then it stops, something like that. And those are some of challenges which are hindering this project. And also you find that the money is not at their every time they want, and you find that most of the time this project get funded the last. The government will choose to fund other thing and leave aside this project. But the government has worked as much as possible and set aside an agency which will be doing the project instead of the Kenyan government be directly involved. And on the pipeline, Ethiopia have now started choosing other route. Even they are choosing to build and buy some land on Somaliland to construct their own project. And if it goes through, this will be at very, very big blow to this Lapsset project. But this doesn't stop it. It's still going on, even if it's going on at a very low rate, at a very slow pace, but it's still going on. Thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and invite your friend. The only thing you can do this to this channel is like, comment, and turn the notification bell on because we upload video every single week, and I am sure of you will enjoy. Bye.